The old pickup truck rumbled along the dusty back road, the setting sun painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. Inside, I, John, hummed along to a classic rock station, my 5-year-old daughter, Lily, fast asleep beside me, her small hand clutching a worn teddy bear. We were on our way home after a long day of fishing at Miller's Creek, a rare treat we squeezed in between my 2 jobs. Life hadn't been easy since my wife, Sarah, passed away. Cancer took her too soon, leaving me a single dad with a mountain of grief and a stack of bills. I worked hard, sometimes 18 hours a day, to keep a roof over our heads and food on the table. It was a constant struggle, but Lily's infectious laughter and bright eyes kept me going. She was my world, my reason for everything. Suddenly, a flicker of movement by the roadside caught my eye. A sleek, black luxury car was pulled over, its hood up, a woman standing beside it, looking distraught. My first instinct was to keep driving. I was tired, Lily was asleep, and I had an early start tomorrow. But then I remembered Sarah's words, "Always help those in need, John. It's the right thing to do." I sighed, flicked on my blinker, and pulled over a safe distance behind the car. "Stay here, sweet pea," I whispered to Lily, gently adjusting her blanket. I grabbed my toolbox from the truck bed and walked towards the stranded vehicle. The woman, impeccably dressed in a business suit, looked up as I approached. Her eyes, though filled with worry, held a spark of surprise at seeing a dusty, grease-stained man with a toolbox in hand. "Is everything all right, ma'am?" I asked, trying to sound as reassuring as possible. "No, not at all," she replied, her voice a little shaky. "My car just died. I'm miles from anywhere, and my phone's dead too." She gestured helplessly at the open hood. I peered into the engine, my flashlight beam cutting through the dimming light. It didn't take long to spot the problem, a loose battery cable. A simple fix, but one that would have left her stranded for hours if she didn't know what to look for. "Looks like a loose battery cable," I explained, pulling out my wrench. "Should have you up and running in a few minutes." She watched, a flicker of hope replacing the worry in her eyes, as I tightened the cable. A few twists and turns, and I was done. "Try it now," I said, stepping back. She got in, turned the key, and the engine roared to life. A wave of relief washed over her face. She stepped out, a grateful smile spreading across her lips. "Thank you so much. I don't know what I would have done. How can I ever repay you?" I waved my hand dismissively. "No need, ma'am. Just glad I could help." She insisted, pulling out her wallet. "At least let me give you something for your time." "Honestly, it's fine," I said, feeling a little uncomfortable. "Just pay it forward when you get a chance." She looked at me, a thoughtful expression on her face, before finally nodding. "All right. But please, at least tell me your name." "John," I said, extending a hand. "John Miller." "Eleanor Vance," she replied, her handshake firm and warm. "It was a pleasure to meet you, John Miller." With another heartfelt thank you, she got into her car and drove off, leaving me standing in the fading light, a faint smile on my face. I got back into my truck, Lily still sound asleep, and continued our journey home. I didn't think much more about the encounter. It was just another day, another small act of kindness. The next morning was like any other. I was up before dawn, making breakfast for Lily before heading off to my construction job. Lily was happily munching on her cereal when we heard a distant whirring sound. It grew louder and louder until it was impossible to ignore. "What's that, Daddy?" Lily asked, her eyes wide with curiosity. I walked to the window, peering out at our modest trailer home, nestled in a small, slightly unkempt yard. And then I saw it. A sleek, black helicopter, its blades churning the air, slowly descending towards our small patch of grass. My jaw dropped. A helicopter? Here? In our humble trailer park? As the helicopter landed, kicking up a cloud of dust and rattling the windows, a man in a crisp suit stepped out, followed by Eleanor Vance. She was smiling, a radiant, genuine smile that reached her eyes. I stumbled outside, completely bewildered, Lily clinging to my leg, her teddy bear clutched tight. Eleanor walked towards me, her gaze warm and direct. "Good morning, John," she said, her voice clear above the dying whine of the helicopter. "I told you I'd find a way to repay you." I just stared at her, speechless. She continued, "I own Vance Enterprises. My car breaking down yesterday was an unexpected blessing. It allowed me to meet a truly good man." She paused, her eyes softening as she looked at Lily. "A man who embodies kindness and integrity, even when he has every reason to be focused on his own struggles." Then she dropped the bombshell. "John, I want to offer you a job. A good job. One that pays well, with benefits, and most importantly, with hours that will allow you to be there for your daughter. We need people like you in our company." I felt a lump form in my throat. My eyes welled up with tears. I quickly blinked away. This couldn't be real. This was a dream. But why? I managed to croak out, my voice thick with emotion. "Because," she said, a gentle smile on her face, "you showed me that there are still good people in this world, people who help without expecting anything in return. And that, John, is a rare and valuable quality." Suddenly, Lily, sensing the shift in my emotions, piped up, "Daddy, are we going to fly in the Big Bird?" Eleanor chuckled. "Maybe another time, sweetie. For now, your daddy and I have some things to talk about." Over the next hour, sitting on my porch, Eleanor explained the job offer in detail. It was a supervisory position, managing a team in their logistics department. The pay was more than I could have ever dreamed of, and the hours were perfect. It was everything I had ever wanted for Lily and me. As she spoke, I kept glancing at the helicopter, then back at our modest trailer, then at Lily, who was now cautiously approaching the imposing machine. It felt surreal, like a scene from a movie. By the time Eleanor left, promising to send over the official paperwork, my head was spinning. I hugged Lily tight, tears finally streaming down my face. This was it. This was the fresh start we so desperately needed. A small act of kindness on a dusty road had turned into the biggest blessing of our lives. Sarah would have been so proud. And I knew, with every fiber of my being, that I would make her proud too. I would work hard, provide for Lily, and never forget the woman who saw past my worn clothes and dirty hands, to the heart that just wanted to help. The next day, I started my new job. I bought Lily a new dress and a small doll she had been eyeing. We even got a new couch for our living room. It was all so sudden, so overwhelming, but in the best possible way. Life wasn't perfect, but it was finally looking up. And I knew, deep down, that it was all thanks to a broken-down car, a loose battery cable, and a belief that helping others was always the right thing to do.